I often get asked that a woman or a girl from Kashmir, how did she move to the boardrooms and the towers of Wall Street? And they expect an answer that it was ambition or opportunity. But the truth is that I have lived that life, and my life exists in both the worlds of both Kashmir as well as the Wall Street. The Wall Street has given me capital, power, influence, and Kashmir has given me resilience. It has given me mountains and poetry. It has also given me conflict. But more importantly, Kashmir has given me family and hope. My life's compass is very simple. It is to create, lead, and uplift. The two worlds which I was talking about has given me the mountains and the poetry, resilience, family, and hope. And it also has given me Kashmir is where I was brought up. I belong to a family of a business family in Kashmir, which uh, has been pioneers of automobiles and pioneers of businesses or industries in Kashmir. So my family's pioneering influence has been transforming Kashmir from a Tonga to the car, the first car that was brought in Kashmir. So it also gave me a lot of responsibility. For us, the legacy was not of wealth, but a legacy of responsibility. I have grown up seeing our generations spend a lot of their time and effort in building up livelihoods, businesses, industries, but more importantly, creating opportunities for people. And this huge responsibility of of creating opportunities also came with a lot of the throne and the crown that we wear, the thorns in the crown that we wear. My earliest memory of my childhood is not of wealth. It is not of profits. It is not of money, but it is of a lot of responsibility. My father, I remember as a child, was always in dungarees. He would always wear simple dungarees and greased hands. For a lot of years, I thought my father was not a businessman, he was a mechanic. And it took a few of my teachers to tell me that my father is a businessman. But what is important about this is that my memory of my father is not of a boardroom. My memory of my father is to be under machines, wearing dungarees, greased hands, working shoulder with shoulder with workers, and offering them dignity and respect. And that is the responsibility which I have taken. That is the legacy that I have taken along in my life. So leadership was not about profits, but it was about how we made others feel in our presence, how comfortable we let others rise in our presence. That was what leadership was. And the lesson that I learned from my father and my family was that no work is small, no individual is insignificant. And more importantly, what I learned was that we as business people have a responsibility. We as leaders have a responsibility towards other people in terms of the employees. So my father's first lesson to me was that when we have people working with us, they're not just our employees, and we do not just have responsibility towards our employees, but also towards their families. I head World Trade Center, or I have been heading World Trade Center for many years now, and I had more than 15,000 to 18,000 people working across India, and that means 18,000 and an average family member of four, that is all, and then the service providers and their families. That meant I was responsible for more than 100,000 people. And with that responsibility is what I have conducted myself. And that was the responsibility that I have lived with. So The leadership never came with a privilege. A lot of people actually tell me that I was born with privilege. I was born in privilege. Yes, I was. And I proudly say that I was. But privilege does not stop you from disruptions. It does not protect you from disruptions. I have realized during this that the world does not reward you from where you come. It has never mattered whether I am from Kashmir, whether I am from India, whether I am from US or any part of the world. What the world rewards is that how you are making an impact and what you are doing and how clearly you know yourself. That is what is important. I have facilitated over 10 trillion US dollars of investment in India. I have connected 1 million plus members globally. 6,500 startups have been mentored under my organization. We have more than 100,000 MSMEs that have been enabled. More than 540 plus global collaborations and partnerships have been there. I have traveled more than 100 plus countries, and each country has I have learned something from each country. I have not stopped learning. And I have been working with networks, and especially I would want to tell you about World Trade Center. It is an organization which connects 330 cities in the world. Out of the 198 countries, 330 cities have World Trade Centers, and World Trade Centers are landmarks. So when we are looking at landmarks, before I go into this, I would like to say that as World Trade Centers, we have developed, and in India itself, I have helped develop 50 million square feet of commercial development, 40 million square feet of residential development, 30 million square feet of retail development. So my rule has been 50, 40, 30. And that is the rule. And each and every development is of sustainable development. For 10 years, now more than 10 years, I have been divorced, and I have never talked about my divorce in public. I have always kept it quiet. And the only reason was I have shied away about talking about my divorce in public was because single women are usually judged. But when I came to Kashmir, I realized I met half widows. I met divorced women in Kashmir. I met many abused women in Kashmir. And I realized that I need to speak up. If I don't speak up as a global leader who has achieved so much and who has been doing so much, then who will? And it was very important, more than speaking up, it was also very important that I build systems. So in my organization, one of the organizations that I have been working with, we have 550 men, and out of them, almost 100 women have risen. My successor in that organization is a woman. And I have ensured that it is not that I provide an environment for these women wherein they can rise, they can fall, they can rise again, and not be afraid of falling. That is the kind of level of support that I can build in an organization, and that is what we do. Of all of these roles of CEOs and organizations that I have built, the most transformational role I have is of a motherhood. And this is one role that is more meaningful, and where I think I do not have a choice of failing. I do not allow myself to fail. One lesson I would like to actually tell you about my child is an incident which happened with my child was that she was studying in school. She was 7, and she came to me. Her school called me actually, and her school called me, "You need to come immediately. Your daughter has hit someone." At that age, my daughter was just 5 feet, in fact, shorter than 5 feet. And when I went to her school, I had to rush to her school. I saw a 6 feet guy, and he had a stamp of he had a footprint on his chest. And I was like amazed that a 5 feet girl had, or a shorter than 5 feet girl had done a flying kick because she was learning football at that time, had hit the boy, and was not scared what the school would take action. All she asked me was, Mama, I want you to believe in me. And I was like, unconditionally. I would believe you unconditionally. And the reason why she had kicked the boy was because he was abusing another friend of hers who was of different orientation. And my daughter asked me afterwards, and I obviously took stand and had to retract what the action the school had to take. But one important lesson which stayed with me at that time was what my daughter asked me. She asked me that why does a person have to be alone if a person is not fitting as how we see them? I do not want my daughter to inherit my success. What I want her to inherit is compassion, conviction, and confidence. And confidence in standing up for people when the world is not standing by them. That is the legacy I want to leave. I don't want her to learn any other legacy but this. So I have been heading a project which is the world's largest investment project, which is a 500 trillion US dollars project, which is NEOM. And when I have been in boardrooms, I have been I'll tell you some incidents which have happened to me. I walk into a room and there is no woman in that room. I'm the only woman there. In the boardroom, I'm the only woman in the boardroom. And once I was doing a billion-dollar transaction, it was. And I walk in and the man asks me, call the decision maker. And I told him, that is me. You're talking to me. Who's the decision maker? And I have been asked, I receive mails. I often receive mails which are addressed as sir. And I do not correct them. I make sure that I do not correct them till I do not close the deal. And that is when I actually introduce myself to them, that I am a madam, I am not a sir. And it is only because I have realized that it is your excellence, it is your work which will speak for you. In the end, I would only say that the world rewards both authenticity and ambition. But a lot of times we actually segregate ambition and authenticity. But when you collaborate, make them collaborate and get them together, what you do is you become unstoppable. And that is what I would leave you with, that when you are breaking ceilings, do not leave behind the glasses. What you can do is, with that glass, you can build a door for someone else to walk. Because that is what I have done. And that has been my lesson from Kashmir. Resilience, dignity, and respect. So I leave you with that and become unstoppable.